Hi guys, this is Alvin. Welcome to Are You Okay podcast, a podcast where we use our voices and hopefully to inspire some of you to use yours too. And today I'm joined by this beautiful, intelligent fitness enthusiast and also an influencer and also a podcast host herself, Maggy Wang.
Hi.
Hi, Maggy.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, like I've been wanting to have you in my podcast. It's just that I'm also feeling very nervous having you
Oh no.
in my podcast because you have done so many episodes of your own podcast channel already.
Yeah.
So, yeah, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, first of all. And I feel like it's very valid that you're nervous because honestly, even until today, no matter how many interviews or how many episodes I'm doing, I still feel nervous as heck. So
But the thing is, you don't look nervous at all. Like,
look.
you guys can see it on my face itself.
No, because remember what I told you? If I were to sing or act, it will show on my face. So it's like the same thing, you know. This is like what I do for a living. But acting and singing, I don't think I can do it. Just like how you do it so naturally. So yeah.
But the thing is, like, hosting requires you to interact with people.
Yeah, all the time.
But singing and acting, like just like one-to-one,
yeah,
or
yeah.
like sometimes you're in the studio, or like
Yeah.
when you're singing to a crowd,
Yeah.
you're not singing to only one person.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, hosting is not easy. Okay, guys.
And it's not easy. It's one of the hardest things.
Yeah,
Because I hosted one TV program before, and I told myself and my team, I'm never ever gonna do that again.
Well, look at where you are now. You're hosting your own show.
Okay, the fun fact about me doing this podcast, because I'm pretty sure you can relate, because I've seen some of your interviews on with magazine, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, because you were a former radio announcer.
Yes, I was.
So there are like limitation of topics that you can say in radio set, right? So for me, it's the same. Whenever I go on interviews or talk to people like media or
Yeah.
like
Media interviews, right?
or even people in the industry in
Yeah.
a formal event,
Yeah.
like there are things that you cannot just say.
Very filtered conversations.
Yes,
Yeah.
and like I don't like to gossip, but then there are things that you just want to let it out. You want to like bitch about that.
Are you hinting me to let some things out?
I don't know. Do you have something?
No. I mean, we'll go with the flow. I'm quite transparent. I think, as you know,
Okay.
I'm very open. I say it as it is. So if there's something I want to say, I will say.
Okay,
Yeah.
since you already mentioned that.
Okay.
So I know that you were from Miss Universe Malaysia
Oh my God.
2012. Because I was from a singing competition, Astro Star Quest, back in 2019.
No way.
No,
The-
2009.
That-
2009. Sorry, 2019. 2009.
2009. Okay.
2009.
Yeah.
So, with this competition reality show and all that.
Oh,
right?
wow.
So, how is it like? Because obviously, I've never joined a pageant event
Yeah,
competition before.
Oh my God. I did not expect this. First of all, guys, to those of you who are listening, I didn't know what Alvin was going to ask me. And he said we're going to go with the flow with the conversation. So I didn't expect you to bring up this trauma in my life. I'm just kidding.
This just crossed my mind.
All right, no,
didn't
I can
practice.
totally share. I think it was for 2012, but then we actually filmed it a year before. So it was 2011. Don't I hope your math is bad, but I was 19 years old at the time. Don't
I was
calculate.
18 when I joined
Yeah,
the
so we were,
competition.
young.
I was the youngest.
Pop pop choy, don't know,
pop choy,
don't know
yeah,
anything
yeah.
about life, don't know anything. You think everything is real, but the interesting part was my particular year was the first year that they did a reality TV show for a pageant. Back then, where I got such thing, right?
Yeah.
They just watch the TV and that's it. When the final happens, but this is like from day one you join, you slowly get eliminated until whatever that's
end,
left.
yeah.
That's the end. So
Do you guys have to like live together for a while?
yes.
So that's the tea I want to hear.
Okay, that's the tea. Okay, I guess I can share one thing. There was this girl, no names mentioned. I
Yeah,
don't
no
really
names,
have
no
to.
names.
She actually came up to me. There were a lot of, I won't say cat fight lah. We're not actually physically fighting, but you can sense, some girls tak ngam with some girls.
Or like jealous, like she's prettier, or like she
Or
get higher
or
score,
just like they
whatever.
don't vibe, right? And I guess there was this girl who just wasn't vibing with me. To be honest, I didn't even see her as a competition because
Ouch.
no lah, I thought she was a friend. No, not in that sense.
Okay. I was like, I didn't even see her as a competition.
I mean,
Wow.
yes, I didn't see. I only saw like a few the girl that I really saw as competition, she actually won because she's like, I felt like she was really good. But this girl, I felt like she was a friend. But yeah, I know why you guys are laughing.
Like,
Sounded
"You're
very
not my
savage.
level."
No. She's way older than me. In fact, that she's got more experience than me. Like, this is like my first rodeo, right?
Okay.
But I think she wasn't vibing with me, and she wasn't really. She don't like me, I think. So she came up to me, and she said, "Do you know you are so fake?" And I'm like, "Oh, why? Because I'm so young, I don't know anything."
Naive.
"Oh, why you want so much attention? That's why you're joining this competition, right?"
So are you.
Then at first I felt so painful. I was like, why you talk to me like that? And then I told my girlfriends at the time. Then she's like, huh? What she's talking about? She's also in the competition, what? So, okay. But anyway, there were a lot of stuff like that. But then she didn't win. She didn't even go to the very end. I did. So I believe in karma. I was quite hurt. I cried actually when they interviewed me. I
But
cried.
did you mention about this?
I mentioned.
You mentioned, right?
Because
On
the
TV,
crew
yeah?
saw ma.
Ah.
The crew saw everything that, you know how it is, kind of like Asian Next Top Model last
Yeah,
time, or
yeah.
American Next Top Model. That was like 10 years ago, right? So they saw, then they straight away put me onto the interview chair already. But it wasn't aired.
It wasn't aired.
Nah, that part was not aired, I think. Yeah.
But do you think there's a possibility where this was planned?
I don't
Like
know.
maybe like the producer go to
Yeah.
her, like, can you say something to Maggie?
Exactly. So I wouldn't know because I think at the time I was really, really fresh in the industry. Like, wow, first thing ever is already a reality TV show in front of so many cameras. Like, kind of like right now, but every day. You wake up, God, you sleep, God, everything. You eat, you shower, you come out of the shower,
Shower
God.
also, God.
No lah, not inside the shower lah. Like, once you're done showering, you go downstairs. Cameras are just everywhere around the house. But there was only one room that has no camera. Again, the confession room where you make phone calls to your loved ones and everything. I cried so much in that room.
Okay.
It was tough. That was one quite
So
tough.
my story was I was in this singing competition called Astro Star Quest. And
In
I was
Chinese, what is it called?
星秀大赛.
Oh, I think I watched before.
Yeah. So like I was the youngest. You know, clearly I've never taken any vocal classes before.
Oh.
I think the reason why I joined because my cousin wanted to join.
Right.
And it was his last year. So I was like, okay, I'll go with you,
Yeah.
as a support.
Yeah.
And then he was like, why don't you also join? Like, you know, because
Together.
we have to wait in the queue for like 30 hours. The audition was only 36 hours, you know? So you have to like, if you fail once, you can also rejoin it.
Yeah.
So both of us failed the first time.
Okay.
And then he wanted to try another round
Right.
because it was his last year
Yeah.
to join. Okay, we try another round. So second round, we both got in for the first round. And then, but until the end, I got into the
Finals.
not finals, like, you know,
The next.
the rounds where we can go on stage.
Oh my.
So my
But your
cousin,
cousin
did
did
it.
it. Oh.
Didn't get it. So long story short, they put us in a camp in Kajang, Country Height, where we just, you know, do our training and stuff like that. Also like cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
And then it turns out like most of the people didn't like me because they feel like I'm not vocally
Trained.
trained.
Right.
And also like I'm just there because for what reason I don't know. But you know, they feel like I'm not eligible. And I didn't felt it back then, but until towards finals. So I didn't get into finals, top 10. But there's like after they announced like top 9, there's a wild card round where all the people who failed will come back and compete again
Yes.
to win the last spot.
Yeah.
And then I won. I was the only one. And then, you know, like
You were the wild
the
card.
other finalists like will just like feel like, hey, what's wrong with like other, like, you know, people who are more better in singing.
Yeah.
So during the final, the training itself, I can feel the intensity of like
The vibe,
people
they just
didn't
cannot,
like me and stuff like that. So it was tough.
But how did it make you feel? Do you feel like you're not good enough, or were you like, I don't care what you guys think?
I always feel like I'm not good enough.
Oh, okay.
Like, to be honest, like there are parts of me where I feel like I don't own this. Like I don't deserve this.
Plus, how are they felt about you? Lagi lah, you don't feel that
Yes,
way, right?
yes. And also, like during finals, we all found out that, you know, we already sort of know who are the top 3 or top 5 because we heard stories about labels wanted to sign some of the contestants.
Yeah.
So the people who didn't get, like, you know, the offers
Yeah.
felt like, okay, I'm not going to win this.
Also, they already give up before they even.
But they still want to try lah. They want
Yeah,
to do
okay.
their best and stuff like that.
It's so common. The whole selecting the winner kind of thing. Is
Yeah,
it?
I also feel like it's not fair for the contestant though.
Yeah.
But I feel like the labels can sign like top 10, even though they don't win if you really
Yeah,
believe in that talent
that's
itself.
true.
But back then, that was the method. You have to be
Unfortunately.
top 3 or
Yeah.
like top 5, like minimum,
Yeah.
for people to like sign you.
Yeah. And you got it. So you won the whole thing.
No. I was in the final, like top
okay,
5.
okay,
But I
okay.
was the first one to sit down. I was the first one. I was the 5th. So yeah, that was a tea lah.
Yeah. Also, you started from a reality TV show also, pretty much.
Yeah.
Same.
But I was really bad in everything. I don't know how to like
You're not
speak.
giving yourself enough credit
No, back
lah.
then.
Okay.
I was really young and naive,
Okay,
right?
okay.
So now I'm getting better. See, I'm hosting a podcast, so which is not bad.
Damn good eh. It's not easy hosting a show podcast. There were so many times I want to give up. Do you feel the same way? Like, oh my
yes.
God, I don't want to do this. I
I
cannot.
feel I want to go back to study or just get a 9 to 5 job or be someone's PA.
Yeah. Hey, I'm looking for a PA.
I'm gonna start my resume. Next day you see like Alvin Chong resume. That'll be very funny.
Yeah.
But I actually thought of it crosses my mind many times. Every time when I feel like maybe, I feel like I'm with like, the newcomers or like so many competitions.
Well, I mean, there's always new faces after year after year, especially after COVID. Suddenly, 邊度嚟嘅呢啲人?
Imagine we were the youngest back then.
I always felt like I was the youngest, and people, I don't know about you, I felt like people never really took me seriously at the time because I was 19, because I was 20, I was too young, I was just a baby. So I had to kind of like work to really hard to kind of prove my worth and prove that I can actually do this, especially when it comes to earning a job. They will always go for people who's like experienced, of course. So yeah, looking back, it was quite a journey lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like we talk about like you being like after Miss
Universe Malaysia.
So you go straight to Fly FM.
I can tell you the story how that happened. So, like you said, when you're the finalist, you have contract one, right?
Yeah,
Same thing. But for us, they were only focusing on the winner. Clearly, they have to send her to the global stage. So everyone else, like, shake leg, nothing to do, And I felt like a very waste of my time, eh?
Yeah.
You sign me 1 year, you don't do anything for me, right?
Yeah.
So I then ballsy lah. I went up to the national director at the time, and I told her, "Hey, so you guys are signing us. Is there anything you can do for us?" I think I was the only one who went up to ask, and I said, "I want to be a host, I think, but I don't know if I'm good enough." And then at the time, she said, "You don't speak very well, Maggie. I think you need to train the way you speak." And then I'm like, "Okay, how do I do that?" Like I was straight up asking. I think you can start with radio because, radio is all about the voice, how you speak, and pronunciation, enunciation. At the time, mine was terrible. I don't think I was speaking very good English. And she sent me for an interview. Audition, sorry. Auditioned at this radio station twice, but I didn't get called back. Because I think they were also not really looking. Because it really is about timing, right?
Yeah,
If
timing.
you audition, but they're
If
not
they have a
looking,
slot, yeah.
no slot, right? No point. And then she sent me to the other radio station, and I auditioned twice as well. And this time I got in. This was Fly FM, the one that I ended up being in 10 for the next 7 years. So that's how I got into radio. It was not, no one looked for me. Nobody. I go and look for them. Yeah.
It's always like that. Like, you talk about like contracts after the competition, right? They wanted to sign me for 3 + 2 years. And I was the 5th. Imagine,
That's crazy.
the winner, the first runner-up, second runner-up, the 4th didn't have any job at that moment itself.
Yeah.
Only the winner has like a single contract.
Yeah.
And then the first runner-up has like an album contract. And the rest don't have.
Then
And they
do
wanted
what?
to sign me 3 + 2 years. So back then, I haven't moved down to KL yet. So when I know that they wanted to sign me 3 + 2 years compulsory contract, I ran back to Penang.
Why?
Because I don't want to sign it.
Okay. So you didn't sign it?
Because when they offered, I said like, okay,
damn
if you
long.
sign me, like what are you guys offering?
Yeah,
Like, is there like a job or like, a program or anything? They say, oh no, but we'll figure something out. Then I asked like, okay, so so you guys are also figuring out for the second runner-up and the 4th. And then only me, right? Say, yeah, we have to go by that sequence. Then I say, why don't you offer me the contract when you actually have something?
Smart.
I had the boss to say that to the head of the channel,
Wow, 好型啊.
And then I've been avoiding their calls.
Oh, I think it's I think it takes a kind of personality to make it in the industry.
Because for me, like I've seen so many winners the past few years
Yeah.
that didn't have anything at all, and they
Correct.
got tied down, and then they cannot do
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah.
And if you sign a contract, if you get any jobs or events, you have to give them percentage.
Of
back
course.
then was 50%.
That's crazy. 50%?
50%.
Oh, hell nah. Oh, no.
Back then was seriously 50%.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. That's the struggle. But I think it's also a normal practice in the industry, because if you are coming from absolutely nothing, where you have zero experience, these are the people who can give you the experience. So, but 50% a bit too much.
Yeah, it's not a bit, it's too much. It's too much, and we are not getting paid really well at the very beginning of our career, right?
Okay.
So, and also I also found out you are also a fitness coach certified. Like, how did
Yes.
that came around? Like,
Wow. Okay. So after the pageant, I think I let myself go.
like how?
I eat so much.
You eat a lot.
During the pageant, we were really restricted with the diet. It was quite insane.
How
Like,
was the diet? Can you share?
oh my God.
Like just veggie
An apple with some cereal?
for one meal or just
Yeah,
breakfast?
per meal. But of course, they fed us, but like
Not enough.
dry, very dry
Chicken breast.
Chicken breast with some, not even
Leaves.
salad, it's leaf, okay? It's like rabbit food. But especially towards the finals, I think I was some more water retention, so I wasn't really drinking water. I was incredibly skinny at the time, like incredibly skinny. So yeah, after the pageant, I kind of, oh my God, food. So I went
Food hunting.
let myself go for
Okay.
a couple of months, and I ballooned up a little bit. I gained like 15 kilos after.
15? That's
Yeah.
a lot there.
Yeah, exactly. So I became a bit chubbier, but because I'm also quite tall, so I think my weight
Proportion,
distribution
yeah.
is quite okay. But if I'm very tiny and small, I think can look very obvious. But because I'm quite tall, right? So I was trying to lose weight and just wasn't going the way it was. And eventually, after many failed tries, I tried taking fat burner pills. I ended up in the hospital because I was allergic to caffeine. It's all these.
Oh, that's why you don't drink coffee.
I can't really drink coffee. I love coffee, like in small portions, sips and sips. Half a cup still okay. But these caffeine pills are very high in
dosage.
caffeine dosage, right? I've tried all kinds of diets, name it, liquid diet, GM diet, keto diet, intermittent fasting, everything I tried, and it just wasn't working. I think because it wasn't sustainable,
Yeah,
like
it
I
was
think,
like short term.
yeah, short term. All these fat diets are just short term. I do not recommend them. I've tried them, didn't work for me. But of course, there are people who try it and it works for them. But for me, it just wasn't working. And then I realized I think I needed to do something about it. So I got very into fitness, started working out a lot more. That's when I realized maybe I can get myself certified so that I can have the knowledge for myself. At the time, it was for myself. Wasn't really doing for anyone. Yeah, that's how I became a fitness instructor as well.
I mean, I find that it's very interesting for people who just wanted to do something for themselves and eventually get to help other people.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful.
So I think you have like a campaign with Adidas. It's called
Move with Maggy.
Move with Maggy.
Yeah, actually, it's my own initiative. I started off doing like community classes for free for people because I realized I wanted to just close the gap between people who wants to get started with their fitness, but they don't know where to start. And sometimes, especially for women, I think, I can't speak on behalf of the men, going to a gym can be very intimidating. Because
It
you don't
is.
know what the hell you're doing.
I hate going to the gym.
So I guess
even though like you guys see me as like quite
yeah,
fit,
you
sort
are
of.
fit, okay?
And to be honest, like I hate going to the gym.
I will say I really enjoy working out. I feel like at some point it's no longer about being motivated, but just being disciplined.
Lifestyle
Yeah,
discipline.
like I need to get this done because it's good for my body, it's good for me, good for my mental health kind of thing, I'm not motivated every day, even as a fitness coach. I try to motivate people, but at some point it has to come from yourself, right? Yeah.
But what do you do when you don't feel motivated but you have to coach someone?
I'll just
Like
do it now.
just do it.
I have to. I cannot cancel class because I'm not feeling it right. Because how can? But to be honest, every time I feel like I don't feel like doing it, but after I do it,
just
I feel
comes.
good. Yeah, like the endorphins comes and I just feel good at the end of the day. So I never have a bad workout. I never coach a bad class. I think it's always good. It's kind of like getting out of bed is the hardest. Yeah.
Then what's the story about Motion Lab?
Motion Lab was something I started with my partner, Joseph. You guys, I think most of you guys know who he is. We started with Move with Maggie. And then we do all these random class at the park and everything. And then at some point we realized maybe we really need a space already because we can't keep carrying all these kettlebells. It's very tiring. They were all living in the back of my car, like all these like 20 kilo kettlebell. And then we realized maybe we need a space. So we took the leap of faith, invested a little bit of money to start a small space. This was like in 2019, July, just before pandemic. Yeah, so we didn't know what was coming, obviously, and very naive, two little kids. Okay, not really. Two kids trying to start a business together. 7 months into starting Motion Lab, our classes were really fully booked at the time already, going really well. COVID decided to say hello. Then we were closed for 2 whole years.
At all, you guys didn't do any online coaching?
We did do online, but it's not the same, right?
Yeah, of course, not the same.
The gym, the studio was like collecting dust, and then we realized after the first year, we were like, I don't think we can keep paying rent anymore, so let's just close it down. But then at the time, also got a bit of hope lah. Maybe after 1 year, I think it's almost time for endemic lah. So it was a lot of struggling, trying to keep the business afloat, but we eventually took another leap of faith and got a bigger space. And the idea for the bigger space was because of social distancing. We thought our small studio is besai liao, cannot already because it's too small. So we thought of maybe since this social distancing probably will be around for a long, long time. I don't think people social distance anymore anyway, but
not anymore.
Yeah, but
since last year, I think.
Yeah, but we decided to get a bigger place so that we have enough space for more people while social distancing. But I mean, it's not a bad thing. I think this is still an okay decision because now we can accommodate more people, and yeah, we're still up and running actually. Yeah.
I'm happy for you guys then.
Thank you.
And also, it's very affordable.
Yes,
so if you guys want to like start fitness somewhere, go and check out Motion Lab.
Yeah, I think the whole reason why we didn't want to like make it so expensive because then it takes away the reason why our goal, our why in the first place. We want to close the gap to
motivate people.
Yeah, and make good training accessible. And I see so many people who are like you and me. It's like, oh, I really don't like going to the gym. I don't like working out. Oh my God, now they are like our unlimited members. From not being able to lift any weights, they squat 25 kilos like with no problem, no pain. And I'm just so proud of them. Yeah, these are the kind that I feel like money cannot buy. Very fulfilling, part of my work.
I also feel like very contented when someone is satisfied with our effort.
Yes.
Like our goal is achieved.
Yeah.
And we see the result and also like their faces.
Yeah.
That they feel like, oh, this money is worth it.
Yeah, and then they won't believe that, oh my God, I can actually live 25 now. And I'm like, yeah, look at you. Like it's a very wonderful, beautiful exchange. Yeah.
So I want to like, seek advice from you of like being a podcast host. Because initially when I created this podcast, I didn't think much. I know I don't know how to talk. Like I don't know how to interact with guests.
Yeah.
Especially like with cameras and the proper setup.
Yeah.
So when I wanted to do this, my intention was to have my own voice. Yeah. Because I have things that I wanted to say, but we talked about this earlier, like we cannot really voice out because of certain circumstances. So like, I think, was it difficult for you to host a podcast? I mean, like, because you were a former radio announcer.
Yeah.
Is there any difference? And
I think there is a difference, but there's also similarities. Obviously, both are, you're talking to the mic, you're having a conversation, but I guess for me, why it's not as difficult to start my podcast was because I already have my foundation laid in my years in radio, right? Like everything was audio, purely audio. Like, in fact, with this podcast, the difficulty comes in with the cameras. Like I need to make sure the angle is good,
right, the lighting is right, the audio
like you said,
is properly
the
recorded.
Setup, everything. You're thinking about so many. You're not just thinking audio, you're thinking visually as well.
And post-production.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of work. But radio was live. You press one button, you talk, you press another button. That's it.
But there's also higher risk if you say something wrong.
Oh yeah, I've definitely said some weird shit before. Like shit. You can't say
like
the word shit. You can't say fuck. You can't say what the... I think what the hell also cannot have. What the heck also cannot. You can just end at what the like that.
Or WTF.
Yeah, WTF, WTH. Obviously, the
Cannot
word
touch
sex
politics.
cannot say, cannot religion.
yeah.
There's a lot of restriction.
Limitation, yeah.
In fact, that's the reason why I decided to. I think my time with radio is
Hmm.
够了. I think I've had it. It has served its purpose. I think I want to do something else, which led me to my podcast. But to answer your question, is it difficult? I won't think it's easy. But once you get the hang of it, once you have a good team, it makes a difference. I don't think it's something that you can do on your own. You can if it's just audio, like you don't want this kind of setup. But most importantly is really, I think you got to let your experience bring you.
I have none.
No, you are having it right now. Really, really. I feel like a lot of people do ask me, how is it like starting a podcast? But you just got to let your experience bring you. Your first episode and your 100th episode, you will realize you sound so different. And you just got to grow along the way.
Did you watch back your first episode?
No, cannot. I hate watching it. I
Then,
cannot.
then how would you know it's gotten better?
Okay, people's feedback lah. No, obviously I do watch. In fact, before an episode go on, I have to vet through everything. I actually still cringe at the sound of my own voice sometimes. I cannot listen
Oh,
to
I
myself.
love the sound of my own voice.
Because I cannot, I mean, I love that confidence, but I cannot
That's the only thing I love about this podcast is listening back to my own voice.
I love
Like
it.
not the context,
No,
like
I
not the
love
way I
it.
speak,
It's your
but just
sound,
the tone
the
of my
tone. You
voice.
got really nice voice. I think I told you before, you got nice voice.
Thank you.
Soothing voice that I can just listen to all day. Like close my eyes, your voice is not annoying. But some people cannot lah, you know. Some
It's like very
people's voice.
squeaky and very...
Yeah, not everybody's voice is made for a podcast or radio, which is fine. If they're not having a show, it's not an issue. But the voice actually, yes, speaking of voice, your voice is very important.
I actually got offered by one of the radio station for me to become their
Why did you say no?
guest DJ. Because I know it is too much work. Because
Yeah.
I've seen, like, I've been, in the as a guest to
Yeah.
attend to get interviewed. So I've seen like they have to control the whole panel,
Yeah.
and then they have to think of contents.
Yeah.
They have to make TikTok videos,
Yeah.
and they have to like...
It's a whole
lot of
job.
prep.
It's a whole job. But when I was in radio, there's no such thing as reel or TikTok. No, maybe just live stream just started at a time, But yes, being a radio announcer is very multifaceted. It's not easy. A lot of layers you need to learn. Not just talking, like
A
listening.
lot of listening.
Like you say, the panel actually is not. It's intimidating, but once you get the hang of it, it's actually okay. Man.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if I want to start, I would have to
Start from scratch,
use
yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
of time to like really cope
Yeah.
up.
But what I think, if you want to start, if they do offer you again, and if you do want
No
to
way.
join, then we'll end the conversation. Not important.
Yeah, and also I feel like I want to do podcasts because like with radio interviews, like
Very
the time-
shallow.
the duration is very short.
Yes,
because they
yes.
have a lot of ads, right?
Yes.
they have a lot of other
Music
things to
they have to play.
to fill in. So like every time when I go for an interview, it's just like 1-2 sentences, and they have to
Yeah.
cut me off
yeah.
because there's no time for me to like elaborate more.
You about to say, so my song is inspired. Okay, let's
Okay,
listen to
then
Maroon
let's listen
5.
to your song right now. And
Yeah.
I'd be like,
Actually, that is one of the reasons that made me realize it was not as fulfilling as I thought it was anymore. It was at some point. Sometimes when I interview artists, I feel like I want to ask so much more.
you want to get to know them more,
Yeah,
but you
it's-
couldn't.
I can only reach
5%.
such a shallow level of getting to know someone, and I realized, nah, I'm sure there's a better way. So I started my podcast because I can talk as much and as long as I want. Yeah.
There's no restriction in like how long the
Yes,
podcast can
exactly.
be, right?
I mean, maybe not 3-4 hours lah, but if people listen, then listen lah. Up to you, right? But yeah, I can talk for an hour. That's great. Yeah.
If you can hold up to an hour, it's good enough already.
Yeah, I think that's
I'm
great.
struggling to hold up to like 45 minutes.
You'd be surprised. Sometimes I don't think you need to hold it. You just gotta let your guests keep talking.
So let the guests do their job. Lah.
let the guests bring you. There will be some guests that will be hard to hold the conversation with, which is fine. Then you just end at 45 minutes. Doesn't mean the episode is any less gooder, no, less better. Not as good as the one that's longer. Sometimes longer doesn't mean better also. You know
So
what I mean?
what do you do when the guest is like very quiet? If you ask a question, then they only answer with like one
word
sentence,
answer,
or
right?
very politically correct.
Okay, don't want to say lah, but I hate it when that happens.
It's like they keep on giving you general answers
Yeah,
that
very
you already
difficult.
know.
So I know the episode, I can only have this much. So it won't be worth too long of a time. So I just cut it short. But most of the time, because it's my show now, like my podcast, I pick my guests. So I don't get people who give me one word answer anymore.
But what if the guest is like someone you don't really know?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to.
You
I
don't have to mention names.
No,
Just
no,
like,
no. I feel like I can bring that side of them out. Like that I think sometimes when you interview doctors, for example, they're very proper one. They're like, "Yep, that's correct." Then I'll be like,
yes, you're right.
can
Can you
cannot
elaborate?
elaborate more. Then, but I found a way. I guess in my years of hosting, I really am able to just dig some, like drill them
Okay.
in a way where they don't feel drilled.
So like I have only one way so far that
Mm-hmm.
I can try to like get something out of the quiet guests. It's
Yeah.
like I give them scenarios and
Oh, that's
ask them
good.
like opinions.
Yeah.
Like what do you feel about this
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
sometimes I'm very geram is because like they always give me like, I think I would pick A and full stop.
That's it, right?
Stop.
No, then you ask her, okay, what about A? Then I have to elaborate. But it really is, it's tough for the host when you have a guest like that.
But you sound a lot more like a proper interview rather than
Yes,
like a
unfortunately,
conversation.
yeah. So pick your guest well. I think that's also one of the important things to know, to do when you have your podcast. Don't pick someone who just don't enjoy talking, then you will have a hard time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Take
sure
note.
you know. Yeah,
Andrew.
yeah. Producer, take note, please, please. Yeah. I think that's a big difference because I think so far, I'm sure you do research on your guests before they come on, right? So same for me. Like
Maybe
you
like
kind of
5 minutes research.
yeah, like you say, you listened to my podcast yesterday because you want to get to know. So same thing for me. I will do my research even before I reach out to them and say, okay, I kind of like the way she speaks. She will talk one. Then you get them on. Yeah.
Whether that person has a opinion on
Yeah.
things.
Opinionated or not, or like chatty or not, you can tell. Yeah.
But do you think I'm a chatty person?
Yeah. I think you are, but I feel you're very reserved. You just need time to warm up. But yeah, lor, I also quite reserved actually. I know I sound very chatty, but like
You don't look reserved at all.
but
The only moment when I see that you're quite reserved is during the Coach Tabby shoot.
oh yes,
Because
yes,
I
yes.
think you don't know like
Most
a
of
lot
the
of them.
yeah. So when I don't know people, I don't really speak much.
I'm like that too.
Yeah,
If I go to
exactly.
a set where I don't know a single soul,
I won't be
I'll
like
be like, when's my turn?
yeah. I just want to get my work done.
Yeah.
I think sometimes or when you have a bad day and so happen you still have to work. I won't put up a bad face like black face, but I'll still talk. It's just that a bit more reserved, lor. I won't like go all out to have a conversation with you, but I will respond to you lah.
You know what's the most common statement that people make of me?
What?
Why do you look so tired?
It's
All the time.
RBF,
like
is
during day, during night, or even like after my holidays or like whatever.
yeah.
I always look like tired. It's just my resting bitch face.
Yeah. I know.
Just like I don't like to show any emotions when I'm not.
But are you
needed
like
to.
that?
I'm like that.
Like even when you're angry?
Oh, angry, you can tell. You can sense when I'm angry.
When you're very happy, or you just still like that?
Happy? You can tell I'm happy.
Okay,
lah.
okay,
You can
okay.
tell I'm happy.
So yeah, no, you're not completely emotionless.
But I won't make a big fuss out of
okay,
it.
okay.
It's just like a slight emotion or
Yeah.
expression.
I think you're not animated. You're not like oh, like I'm very animated.
I'll
Like,
just give you like bombastic
yeah,
side
so
eye.
bombastic side eye. Yeah. I think you're that. Yeah. I think that's fine lah. Everybody's got different personality. I have friends who are like, you okay or not? Yeah, I'm okay. You look very sad. No, I'm not.
Or at least your friend is saying something. Is that okay or not? I'll be like,
taking note.
That's my usual response.
Yeah.
Like, you feeling better? Yeah, I think so. And that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
But you're not angry or anything. You're just like
that's
yeah.
how I communicate.
Exactly. I think that's fine. I have friends like that, really. Then I just know how to communicate with them. I
See?
feel like I'm a chameleon.
See, I'm not the weird one.
Yeah, I have
I'm not
friends
the
like
only
that.
one.
But of course, when they need you to say something, then you then they can feel annoyed. I get that. But most of the time, I think you know what to do. I think it's fine.
No, I mean like if people ask out me, that's my usual response.
Yeah.
But if they want to seek advice from me, I will still express
Yes,
my opinion.
exactly.
But
So
just when it comes to me myself, like I think I have nothing much to share.
Do people call you Lancy, the face?
People don't call me in front of me, but
They behind your back.
my back.
Well, Alvin like very Lancy, but I don't think you are.
before they get to know me,
Yes.
they'll say like, I don't think Alvin is very friendly, or like I don't think I don't think he like us.
How
or
do you
like-
feel about that kind of comments though? Does it affect you or you're like whatever?
At first, yeah, it did affected me because I felt like that wasn't my intention.
Yeah.
If I want to be Lancy, I wouldn't even show up.
Exactly.
Like I wouldn't even like
Yeah. You won't even
go.
smile or like look into their
I won't even
eyes.
say hi.
Yeah.
You know, like, but the thing is, like, when I don't know you, I don't want to get overly friendly because I don't like people doing that to me.
Yes.
Because when first met, right,
Yeah.
then they act like we are
Yeah,
best
yeah,
friends or
yeah,
like
yeah.
bro already.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I think that's why I think you're very real in that sense, and not everyone can take that. Really one, really one. Not everyone can take real. People who are like that are sometimes the realest. They don't give you bullshit. They don't fake in front of you. I think that's you. If you don't like them, it's quite obvious. If you like them, you will respond, but you won't go all out and just try to fake a conversation when
yeah,
you
when
don't
there's
feel
no
like it.
connection, like, why
Yeah.
should we force it out?
Correct.
Like, why do we have to pretend like
Stay
we
you,
are?
man. I think that's fine. That's why for me, I never take offense when someone don't really try to have conversation with me when we first meet, because I feel like everyone is still sensing the room, trying to vibe and see we are okay. I also cannot take it when someone's like, "Oh my god, babe, how are you?" I'm like, "Yo, I just met you. Just chill out." You know? Yeah, I'm sure you.
At the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't even know your name.
Exactly. So, yeah. But for me, because I guess I'm a host, like I said, I'm a chameleon when it comes to this. If there's someone who's like you is more reserved, I'm okay. But if there's someone who's like very extremely bubbly, I also know how to handle them. Which is minimize my contact, then I just walk away lah.
Oh, I always say, oh, I have to go and look for someone. I'll be right
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
And then I never come back.
You never come back, right?
And you're like, stay here, don't go anywhere, I'll come back.
Yeah.
So, how do you come up with the concept? Head Over
Concept.
Heels? Like, how long did you take to come up with the concept?
Quite fast. I think
Quite fast.
for
See,
me, like I said, I told you different.
experience matters.
Really, if I ask you to do a singing camp now, I'm sure you can easily teach people how to sing or
Oh,
act.
no.
No?
No.
You're not giving yourself enough credit. But for me, I think why my why is very important. Because I feel like if I don't have my purpose, my why, I will lose track very fast and I feel lost very fast and very easily. So I think I've talked about this many times before. Like my purpose in everything that I do, like every fiber of my being, my DNA, like in all of my things that I do is to be the voice I never had. Because you know how we grow up in a not Chinese, like Asian community, we don't have a lot of important conversations like sex. We don't talk about heartbreak relationships. We don't talk about. We don't even talk about paying tax. You know how to pay tax.
Yeah.
All these things are like this. I never had, and I'm the oldest in my family, so I don't have an older sibling to
Refer to.
refer to or
Or
like
to talk to.
or I was just struggling on my own. So I guess as I grew older and I was searching for my why, and I guess if I'm going to do this in this industry, I need to stay grounded because it's very easy to stray far and stray away from who you truly are with the fame, with money, with everything,
Yeah.
So my why is to be the voice I never had. So when I started this podcast, that's very easy. That's why I say it's easy. It's still hard, but like my why was there
It's
already.
slightly easier.
Easier that I had my why.
You have a purpose.
Yeah. So even if I feel like along the way I feel very lost, and I come back to my purpose. I was like, no, this is why I'm doing this.
But were you already like listening to some other podcasts?
Oh yeah, I was listening to podcasts for a long time. Even in Malaysia we don't have a lot of podcasts as well. It's not as saturated as say Americans, right? Like I was listening to Brene Brown, I was listening Jay Shetty is one of my top favorites as well, and there's so many others. And I feel like why can't we have that here in a more local context?
Yeah.
That's more relatable. A lot of their childhood stories like what frat party, sophomore, and like what the hell is
don't
that?
have it.
Cannot relate.
We don't
Yeah,
have
year 5, year 6. I'm like, I from 1 from 2 there was just no local
SPM.
yeah. And it was very, as much as the conversations that I listened to when all these international podcasts were
Very interesting.
relatable,
Yeah.
but still don't have the local flair, the relatability that we can have. So that's why I started my podcast.
Okay. You want to hear about my story?
Tell me.
I've never listened to any podcast before in my entire life.
And why did you want to start?
Because I saw some snippets on TikTok. Like,
Yeah, they have.
some of the points that they say is like very interesting.
Yeah.
I was like intrigued to like want to watch, but I never have the time. So like I didn't go for it. And then when I feel like I want to do this, it's because one of the reasons why is because of the interviews.
Yes.
I don't want to like limit myself in sharing my thoughts.
Yeah.
So one of the ways is actually podcasts.
Yes.
Like I'm not good with vloggings. I'm not good with like talking to the camera myself.
Yeah.
Just me alone.
Yeah.
So the only way to do it, I think one of the best ways is actually podcasts. So with zero experience, like no experience in watching podcasts, I just go with it because I believe in life, if like you say, if you have a purpose, it's easier.
Yeah.
Like you use that as a fuel
Yeah.
to just keep doing it.
Yeah.
So I also believe the fact that I can eventually nail this. I think that's my feel of doing this. So when we first started Are You Okay, we were struggling to find like the podcast name. Because like some of the very catchy
Taken
podcast name is
already.
already taken.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we brainstorm a lot, and one of the nights, like I just thought, like I think like people have been asking me like, "Hey, Alvin, are you okay?" But I felt like we don't really ask people
If they're.
enough.
Yeah.
I mean, like sincerely.
Yeah.
It's just like a very casual opening
Yeah.
of the conversation.
It's like "Say mei." Don't
say
really
"Bao mei."
care that
Yeah,
you're not
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
did you have eaten your lunch, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Like
But we don't really ask like,
Yeah.
"Are you really okay?"
Yeah.
Like want to get to know. I want to like help if you're sensing something is not right. So I feel like this is one of the very good way for us to approach the guests, and also like to constantly ask myself, "Am I doing okay?"
Yeah.
At this moment.
We really don't ask ourselves enough. So when you guys invited me to host your premiere, I think that was, thanks for having me, by the way. I think when you shared your story about your why, I thought that's a solid why that will keep you going for a long time, because
Yeah.
having your why is so important. Yeah, so it's good. At the end of the day, you see, like you say, you want to do it for yourself because nobody asks you, so you want to ask them back. So I think that's very nice.
Yeah. Speaking of podcasts, right? So like because the reason why I want to do podcasts is because we want to have like unfiltered conversation.
Yes.
But sometimes you think like we might go too far. Like how do we like balance it up?
With being unfiltered, going too far.
Have you ever experienced that? Like you feel like the conversation is going way too extreme, or like you feel like the audience might not be able to take it, or you feel like it's okay to just let it out.
I think it depends on what conversation and what context. The unfiltered conversations that I have is not about the airing dirty laundry or talking shit about somebody. Then that's like not okay lah. Not kind of the things that I do as well. In fact, not really something that I like doing. But if you're talking about unfiltered conversation as in being real with your own experience, with your own struggle, I think that is fine, because you're able to share your experience and
How you overcome it.
yeah, and then other people who may not have the voice, when I say don't have the voice, are a bit more timid, a bit more shy. They are not the kind who will seek out for advice or talk or have conversation with other people. Then they can learn from your conversation. So I think in that kind of unfiltered is okay, but not like TMZ, go and spill who sleep with who, or they cannot lah.
But I feel like as long as there's no name mentioned,
Yes.
or there's no obvious descriptions,
Yeah, don't like what I don't know, like
Like
5'7" and then this
5
boy,
feet
like,
seven,
yeah,
and
no.
like going to the gym.
live around what, Banda Utama? No lah, don't no lah. For example, no.
But if you're sharing your own experience, like the whole thing, just to let people know what did you learn from it,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
I think the way you set it up is very important. Very, very important. Especially stuff like, let's say, Black Lives Matter. Before you want to talk about it, I guess you need to be very, very knowledgeable. So sometimes it's actually, for me as a podcast host, right, there are some topics I do kind of avoid for now because I feel like I'm not credible enough to talk about it, or I feel like I'm not experienced,
Yeah.
and even if I'm not experienced, I think it's okay if you can get an expert to come on.
As your guest.
Yes. Or giving tips, guys. So if you want to start a podcast, take notes. But no, serious. Like I think for me recently, I did a content. This is not on my podcast, but my own personal content about women's health, like about cervical cancer, HPV, ovarian cyst. I'm not a doctor. I can't be telling people what to do. So I got a professional professor to come on, and people appreciate that as well. Then it doesn't have to come from you.
I think that's the way of doing it, because like when you have a professional as your guest, you can also give your non-knowledgeable opinion.
And then they can kind of verify for you.
Yeah.
And like tell you the right one instead.
Yeah, and because like I think most of us would feel the same when we don't have the knowledge. So we have a certain how do you call the perception
Yes,
of
correct.
things
Yeah,
that we seen online or like
correct.
we read or from
Yeah.
TikTok itself. Like don't
Yes.
know whether it's creditable,
Yeah.
like to actually
Correct.
absorb that knowledge itself.
Exactly. Like for Black Lives Matter, you don't then bring like a white person here to talk about it lah.
Yeah.
You bring someone who has experienced it, who understands it to share with you their experience. I think that's fine. Yeah, that's why picking guests, picking conversations, and selecting what guest to put for what conversation. I'm sure you know the struggle.
I don't yet.
No? Okay, you have a good team. Honestly, you have a really good team.
Okay,
So
yeah.
very
You when you're talking about like picking topics for certain guests, yes.
yeah.
It is a struggle.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know because some of the stories I already shared during my past episodes.
Yeah.
But but with different guests, they have different experience.
Correct.
But when they speak about the experience, I don't know whether I should bring that up
Your
again
own experience?
for the guest to know. So
It depends. I think depends if I feel like I want to share, because sometimes once you share you cannot take it back, right? Especially if it's like very juicy topic, you want to save it for another episode, then you can keep it to yourself and just let the guest take it.
okay.
Yeah, that's what I do. Usually, I think in the beginning, I was reciprocating with a lot of my own story. Oh, by the way, I also went through this. But like you say, when you listen to my situationship episode, I cannot tahan. I want to share one, So it happens, but like I don't share throughout because I want to let the guests have their airtime
And their space.
share their experience. Because I'm always on this podcast, but they're only here once. Yeah, makes sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah. But I think you're doing great. You're really not giving yourself enough credit. It's not easy hosting a podcast, and like I feel like the conversation that we had today felt so natural.
Thank you. It
真的
means a lot.
真的
Like, I wouldn't call myself a podcast host yet.
Yeah,
I'll just say like, I have a podcast.
yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Because
I'm-
I don't think I'm credit enough.
You
I'm
feel
credit
like
enough.
you're not ready to own it yet. I think that's fine.
Yeah, it's just
One
like
day.
when I'm not like into gadget. I
Yeah.
wouldn't call myself a gadget
Yeah,
influencer
correct,
and stuff like that. So I want to feel like when I'm there,
Yeah.
then I would just address me as
And that's fair. I do that too. Yeah.
it's tough. We can do this.
You got this. No, I'm like cheering for him on his own show. I love it. I think because I'm a podcast host myself, and I wish more people are doing it, because then that's the only way we can grow as an industry, right?
As a community
Correct. As a podcast community, there's really not much in the scene. Yes, there's enough, but if honestly you can count less than 10, the one that people know.
as well. Listening.
Yeah. There's really not much. But in comparison to, let's say, influencer, wow, so many, a whole hundreds of lists. But as a podcasters, really not much. So I do look forward to seeing the podcast industry grow in the years to come. Yeah.
Amen to that. Have you experienced any like backlash of the topics that you spoke
yeah.
about? None
think
for now.
My genre is a bit more safe lah.
Safe.
Not really. Let me think. No, there are people who don't agree with what I say, but it's not to a point that it's a backlash. Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna talk about unpopular opinions.
Okay, bring it on.
So do you have any like unpopular opinions that you heard before or you have one yourself?
I was actually, Hits FM recently. They have a series going on where they talk about unpopular opinions. Don't know if you guys heard. I think one of it was, can you be friends with your ex? Can you?
I can.
Like, hey, wait, what extent of friends?
Just like normal friends,
Normal
like
friends,
not
not
like
talk
best
everyday
friends,
kind,
not
okay,
talk every
okay.
day. I cannot talk to them every day anymore. But but because I believe in a relationship, like that person used to be the love of your life.
Yeah.
Your best friend.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you guys just don't talk anymore. It doesn't make sense to me. I cannot go
Total
past
stranger.
that.
You cannot.
I cannot go past that because they knew you like A to
Yeah,
Z
yeah.
at that point of
like
time.
inside out, right? I think it depends what the ex do.
I mean, as long as there's no, oh no, I forgave,
all right.
I forgave one of my exes who cheated. So
Oh, yo, really?
yeah,
What the hell? You're so nice. I mean, I'm obviously not friends with those who cheated or ghosted me. Like, fuck them. Never mind. I don't want to talk to them. They unfollowed me first. So then I just unfollow. Means clearly they don't want to have
An
a
interaction,
relationship
yeah.
really. So it's fair. But then I do have exes who I still do talk to. So yeah, I do think you can still be friends with your ex. But I think it's about what's the extent.
boundaries.
Cannot be BFF lah. Come on.
cannot be FF.
Cannot.
But the
cannot.
thing is, like sometimes when they are having like relationship problem, they will call me. Like I'm seeing this guy, like I don't know what to do. Like
that's
I
so
still
nice.
give them advice, and sometimes when I have no one to talk to, I'll call them and say like,
Okay.
like I'm having a bad day at work.
Are you single right now?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's fine. But once you have a partner, would
Of
there
course, I
still be
won't
a...
do that when I have a partner.
Okay, fair. But
But
then some
then,
people still do. That's the not okay part, I feel. That's
I mean,
why.
if I have a partner, right? If I say we're together,
Yeah.
if we are like having a fight right now,
Yeah, then
I don't know who to turn to.
you will still...
I will still ask,
Okay.
like, but my belief is I will never let my current partner knows that who were my exes.
It's a good move.
Because that's gonna change everything.
Right.
Because my intention, I will never go back to my exes.
Yeah.
But then like
But you won't reveal them.
because I don't want you to feel insecure.
Right. Okay.
So I rather, even like with my partner, I don't want you to like talk to me about your exes, your past relationship.
You don't want to know at all?
I don't want to know.
Oh, interesting. I'm the opposite though.
Because once you know, you feel like you compare, and then you compare the things you do, and when you see that person, you feel like, why is he so nice?
Isn't
I
it
feel
worse if your current girlfriend find out that that person is your ex from someone else?
but I'm not close with them anymore, ma.
Yeah, okay, fine. But for me, I'm a bit different. I would tell my partner who my exes were. So at least if they bump to each other at the event, not so awkward. But not that they will lah, but like, I don't know, a wedding or...
But it depends on who your partner is.
Correct.
Some partner will be like, why is he here?
Yeah. It depends. Honestly, I think there's no one
Right way,
size
yeah.
fit all advice for this kind of stuff. It really depends on your current partner's personality. Are they very open? Or if they're not, then different conversation. But I do think being friends with your ex is possible, but maybe not to the point of being BFF.
No, like, no BFFs.
Yeah. I don't think my kind of personality is the kind that burn bridges also. Not really drama kind of person. Like I like you are very forgive very easily.
I even went on a trip with my ex. But like not just me
Oh,
and
okay,
her,
okay.
like with other people.
Like how? Like a group
like,
friends?
like a group of friends.
Oh, okay, that's nice. Was it
So-
awkward?
No.
Okay, how long ago until your breakup then the trip happened?
A year?
Okay, fair. Then move on lah. Maybe move on. Yeah.
Clearly she hasn't. But then like I kept my boundaries. And also like it's fun because like at that point she sort of like she was seeing somebody,
okay,
but
that it
there's like
helps.
no commitment.
Yeah.
You know, like she told me all the stories and stuff like that. I don't know whether she was trying to make me jealous or whatsoever, but I was like, yeah, I mean, good for
She was
you.
telling you all the things that
Not all, but
Yeah,
she
she
was
was
like
telling you.
just
Okay.
briefly like updating her life and stuff.
would I want to know?
But it was nice to see like she's happy.
Yeah. I think it's
So I
Wait.
always hope the best for all my exes.
so good Why still single one? But yeah. I think depends. I think that's a person like you who's so chill, then yeah, it's possible. But not everyone's like that. Some girlfriends are really jealous.
Yeah, that's why I would never mention. Because if I say I don't want to talk about my exes, I wouldn't want you to talk about your exes. So it's fair.
Okay, fair.
So
Then-
it's
then
fair.
it's fair.
It's not like one-sided, hey, I will know about you, but you cannot know about
What's
me.
your deal breaker in a relationship? Like, if your partner do this means, wow, I cannot be with you.
When I don't feel the affection anymore.
Okay.
It's like you can be busy,
Yeah.
but I need to have the moments where you still care about me.
When your kind of affection, is it words or are you like the touch?
Words is good enough for me, but touch would be better lah.
Yes.
But then, as long as the conversation that we had, you make me feel like you appreciate me, even though like even just a call, like 3 seconds call, just like, hey, I'm just letting you know I'm going to do this, blah
Yeah.
blah blah. It's good enough for me.
Yeah. So keeping the conversation going with one another. Yeah, understand.
Because like our lives are so busy, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes we gonna be there for them, but we want to make them feel like we are there
like
for
you're
them.
thinking of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's important.
So what's your deal breaker?
My deal breaker, I think having clashing values sometimes can be a deal breaker. For example, you want kids, I don't want kids. Susah lah. For example. Right? I've had
But
friends
then that conversation would just
happen in the beginning.
happen very beginning,
No,
right?
for some of my friends, right? Apparently one of them changed their mind. It can happen. So I've recently heard a story of someone who had to break up because of that, and also religion. For me, it's not a deal breaker actually. I think I'm quite open, but like the whole clashing of values, like how you want to raise your kids, how I want to raise my kid. that can be a deal
Where do
breaker.
you see yourself in 10 years and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Like what
So-
kind of life do you want
Correct.
after?
Like if you have this kind of conversation and you realize, wow, this person 真的 straying so far with your own vision, I think can be quite a deal breaker.
But
of-
would you still go on with it? Because at that moment you guys still like gel really well. Like things
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so difficult to say, right? But I think it really depends, lor. Like how open, like you can have this conversation now and realize, okay, we are very different, but are you both willing to come to a middle ground?
do you date to marry?
Yes. Do you?
I used to,
Oh,
but now I don't.
why?
Because marriage is so fragile now. I have so many friends like going through divorce
Yeah.
and like having like breakups. For me, it's just as long as at that moment itself I feel loved
Yeah.
and I feel like I'm not by myself.
Yeah.
I have someone in my life.
Yeah.
It's good enough. I always tell all my partners like, if one day they just fell out of love,
It's okay.
just let me know and help me to move on, and then we can still be friends.
You're the very logical kind of person.
And but I cannot take you cheating on me.
Oh, no, no, no. But you still forgive your ex who cheated on you.
Because I even tell them the scenarios where if you feel like you want to kiss somebody or sleep with somebody, just tell me before you do it. We just break up.
Yeah.
You can do whatever the fuck you want.
I don't understand people who do that. When you're in a relationship, no, at least for me, lah, what's in Chinese they saw like you
Loyal.
Loyal,
Like,
what's- yeah.
you give your whole heart to that
Yeah,
person.
so if I'm in
you
a
commit
relationship-
to it.
But I think I shared before on my podcast that I have cheated before when I was very, very, very young. Like
Oh, I
one
did
time.
too when I was very,
Yeah,
very young.
very, very young. And I didn't know it was really cheating because it was a gray area. But then when I knew the amount of pain that I can inflict on someone from my action, never again. Then after that, I got cheated on, so I got my karma. You also. So I oh wait, another unpopular opinion. Cheaters will always be cheaters. Do you agree?
Yes.
You agree?
Once they cheat once, I mean like in one relationship.
Yeah.
If they are willing to cheat on you once in that particular relationship, they
They
will do it again.
Okay, for that particular relationship,
Yes.
applicable to the relationship. Okay, that's fair. But I don't think cheaters will always be cheaters because, like for me, I cheated once.
Because
long
we
time.
grow
Yeah,
out of it
yeah,
and we
yeah.
see the consequences. We had
Yes.
our karmas
Yes,
already.
correct,
So
correct.
and also it's very subjective to different relationship, like how your partner makes you feel.
Yeah.
Because as we grow older, the next relationship would be also like you're very careful.
Yes.
Like you know like what are the
cannot
boundaries,
say
what
yeah.
are the restrictions and stuff like that.
But I really wouldn't want to kiss someone else when I have a partner, lah, unless he's Park Seo-joon. But you know, but I'm just kidding. I'm giving an example. I really won't. If I see a really hot person
Yeah.
and I have a partner, I won't want to
Interact.
drop my pants and go them. You know, no lah. I love my partner.
Yeah.
So I think
yeah.
it depends on your current love. You're right.
The relationship and the connection
Yeah,
that you
because
have
if your
with
current
them.
relationship is dry, like you feel out of love already, then
Yeah.
okay, it happens.
But the thing is, I also don't understand why the people that are in the relationship, if they have a problem, they know that the feeling is like fading off. You know, like how Asian is like, it's very hard
don't
for us to,
confront.
it's very hard for us to talk about it
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
when the feelings are not there anymore.
Yeah.
But for me, it's straight to the point. If you don't love me anymore,
How
just
would you
tell
tell
me.
someone?
It's like, hey, have you been feeling off? Like something is not right in our relationship. Then just go from there.
Okay.
Because when I look for somebody to date, right, I have to find someone that's mature enough to have this kind of conversation with,
yeah.
which is very hard for me to find someone like that, especially like here.
Would you date someone older?
So far, all my exes are younger than me
Right. So you've not actually tried.
because
before.
I'm the caretaker. Like I like to take
you
care
like
of
to
people.
take care of someone.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I agree. Like women in general. I think anyone likes to be taken care of. Sometimes men also wants to be taken care of,
Of
to
course,
be loved.
of
So
course.
yeah, I understand.
My unpopular opinion is I don't know if I have any, but I feel like like men's room, right?
Men's room.
Men's washroom.
Oh yeah,
We have the
the urinal.
the room
Yeah.
where we do like big business. I don't know why when someone want to pee inside there, they don't want to lift the cover up.
Actually, this is very confusing for me. What is it supposed to be? Because I have friends who get angry at the husband for not lifting the lid up, but I go back to my house, I'm like, my lids is never up. So, is it supposed to be up?
Not the lid, like the seat cover. When you want to like do your business, you have to sit on it, right?
Yeah.
So I understand like the public toilet, sometimes when the urinal thing is full, you have to go in and
Yes.
take a piss. But then I don't understand why the people just don't want to lift out because like not everyone can aim properly.
Oh, for the men, understand. I see. Sorry, I cannot relate because
Yeah, of course you
I
cannot
squat
really.
one, you know.
You squat lah.
Hey, women, okay, I don't want to touch the public toilet, so I hover over the toilet seat. I mean, for me, it's no problem. I work out, so
Did you lift up the thing?
I don't care. I just don't want to touch it. I don't know who has touched it. If the lid is up or down, doesn't matter for me actually. Just give me a hole. I'll just hover over it. So I cannot relate. So wait, so for men, you guys lift the lid up, then only you touch.
Because it's for public users, I feel like it's hygiene purposes. Because not every toilet has the hose to like wash.
Wipe. Ah.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I never knew.
Okay, I think we have come to the end of the podcast
Yeah.
already. Thank you so much for coming here.
Thanks for having me.
So I think we have shared quite a bit
A lot.
in the podcast. Like I didn't expect it to go so well. I think mainly it's because of Maggie's being a really great guest.
Thank you.
Making me feel comfortable.
No, I think you're great. I don't know what you're talking about you not knowing how to host, because I felt like the conversation flew really well. And I'm very excited and I look forward to how your podcast and you will grow as a host as well.
Thank
Just
you.
don't take my job, huh?
I won't.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, I think you're doing really great with your show.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching Are You Okay podcast. We are coming out every by Wednesday at 9 p.m. on our channel. And if you want to watch, you can watch on YouTube. If you want to hear it on Spotify, we have it there as well. So see you there on Are You Okay podcast.
Bye.